Good morning, everyone. I am Mairelyn Cebel, and I'm from Group 4, and we're going to tackle about the changing global landscape for the 21st century teacher. For this discussion, you're going to identify the different changes occurring in the global teaching and learning landscape. Identify the 21st century life and career skills for the learners and teachers. And lastly, to demonstrate understanding of UNESCO 4 pillars of learning as this apply to the 21st century. So for the first part, which is the changing of global landscape in teaching and learning brought about by factors such as learning environment, content and processes of learning, and types of learners, and other parameters of learning in the 21st century. So learning environment. This is a place where teacher and learners interaction happen, which is very important now because if the teachers and learners have a interaction, learners will be more interested in learning. They will keep doing their best during the teaching and learning process. Learning environment characterized by the following: learner-centered, new space and borderless, enhanced opportunity for creativity and innovations, and use of ICT. So, number 1, learner-centered. So, kaning the teacher here must do their responsibility, which is to facilitate learners. Dapat turuan ng mga guro ang kanilang estudyante sa abot na kanilang makaya. They will teach everything they know to their students to avoid ignorance. And the students also must be responsible, no? Hindi lang sa teacher. Student must be responsible to their studies. They should monitor their learnings and find some strategies to improve. Number 2 is new spaces and borderless. So teachers should adjust changes and be responsible for the new world. Kagaya ngayon, no, makikita naman natin kung yung kaibahan ng pagtuturo noon at ngayon. Like sa technology, ang mga teacher noon, if they will teach their students, they will use cartolina, diba? In presenting their topics. And ngayon, yung mga teacher, they will use technology like they will use PowerPoint, gumagamit sila ng PowerPoint to present their topics or discussion, di ba? At sa paraang yan, mas napagaan at napadali ang kanilang trabaho. Also, by the use of technology, it will boost learners' learning. So yun nga, no, teachers should adjust changes. Take advantage sa technology in order the learners will learn best. So number 3, enhance opportunity for creativity and innovation. So, teachers should be creative in their discussion, especially elementary teacher, no, mga bata ang ilahang mga estudyante, in order to draw students' attention. Like teachers can have some games or dance and give some candies, biscuits to those students who always participate in the class, and many more other activities can help students to be more interested in learnings. Number 4, use of ICT. Yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina na yung number 2 na teachers should adjust changes and take advantage sa technology in order the learners will learn best. So next, dito na tayo sa content and process of learning. So this pertains to content, theme, idea of the subject matter. When we say traditional content, there is no exchanging thought and ideas. While sa new learning content, there are exchanging thoughts and ideas from a specific discipline or subject area. Subject matter of learning has the following characteristics: the integrated or the interdisciplinary, demand-driven, emphasis on learning tools and how to retrieve knowledge, and balance of scientific, technological, cultural, global, and local concepts. So the integrated and interdisciplinary, it means that they are interrelated to each other, especially the topic of the subject matter. Under one discipline, the topic, there are a lot of points. So the next types of learners and other parameters of learning in the 21st century will be discussed later on by Ms. Jackyline Lanojan. So we will proceed to the next topic, which is the 4 pillars of learning of UNESCO, which is the learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. So number 1, learning to know. So it involves the acquisition and development of knowledge and skills that are needed to function in the world. It implies learning how to learn by developing one concentration, memory skills, and ability to think. Examples of skills under this pillar of learning include literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking. To nourish these skills, teachers should provide different learning opportunities like games, problem-solving method, brainstorming, storytelling, and many more. So number 2, learning to do. So it involves the acquisition of skills that would enable individuals to effectively participate in the global economy and society. These skills are often linked to occupational success, such as vocational and technical skills, and leadership and management competencies. So next is learning to be. Right? Am I right? Learning to be. Yes, learning to be. So learning to be, it involves activities that promote holistic personal development, body, mind, and spirit for an all-around complete person. The aim of the development is the complete fulfillment of man and his development in a holistical way as an individual, member of a family and community, and as a responsible citizens. For an example under this pillar ay yung mga guro na nag-participate ng mga training workshop para ma-enhance at ma-expand pa ang kanilang knowledge and skills in teaching learning process in order to become an effective teacher for his or her students. So last pillar is the learning to live together. It involves the development of social skills and values such as respect and concern for others, social and interpersonal skills, and an appreciation of the diversity among people. These skills would enable individuals and societies to live in peace and harmony. So education should help inculcating a spirit of empathy in students so that it can have a positive effect on their social behavior throughout their lives. So next is the changing global landscape and the 21st century for teachers. We are in an era of a borderless, flat world. Barriers have been broken by new information and communication technology as globalization has opened doors that lead nations to coexist and be interdependent. So, ibig sabihin nito, maraming pagbabago ang nagaganap. Kaya nang sinabi ko sa last topic ko na individuals, teachers should adapt changes and be responsible for the new world. A teacher live 21st century need to adapt the skills that may not have in the past. So teachers should study more, especially using technology. Kay ang 21st century ba kay it's a life of technology. Yun ang kaisa-isang pagbabago na kailangan nating harapin. Kailangan harapin ng mga teacher ang pagtuunan ng pansin. Di lang din para sa sarili, kundi pati na rin para sa estudyante nila. Next is Enotech 2011 identifies some key categories of the different changes and developments in 21st century teaching and learning. To understand the categories, we will attempt to describe the new learning environment, identify the new learning contents, explain the new processes of learning and how this will be facilitated. Number 4, describe the new type of learners. And lastly, describe the new types of teacher. So, na-discuss ko na to yung 1 and 2, describe the new learning environment and identify the new learning contents. So, yung 3 and 4, 3, 4, 5, i-discuss sa new reporters. So, I will give the floor to the next reporter. I think this is Miss Jackyline Lanojan. Thank you.
And now, let's proceed to the new learning environment. So when it talks about the new learning environment, it is the place where interactions of the learners among one another, with the teacher and the surroundings happen. And it is very important because through this it can increase students' attention and more focused. It promotes meaningful learning experience. It, it encourages higher levels of students' performance, and also it motivates students to practice higher level of critical thinking skills. And the new learning environment is characterized by the first is the learner center, where the instructor should design ways to uncover the knowledge, skills, attitude, and beliefs of every learner. And it must involves the interest, the student's background knowledge, and the social and cultural values. The second one is the new spaces and borderless. So we are on the era of borderless world where this is the challenge in new learning space. And the teacher should provide opportunities for learners to think through problems, have a group collaboration, and arrive at innovative solutions using technology and still remain to open options and alternatives. The third is to enhance opportunity for creativity and innovation. We should have a learning techniques and encourage creativity and innovation. The practical ideas for incorporating more active learning into their teaching is it should provide first the interactions that includes the high percentage of class time with hands-on and problem-solving opportunities. Create hands-on field work opportunities to get students out of their comfort zone and their own environment and so on. And lastly, with the use of ICT. Using ICT, it has a potential to transform the nature and process of learning environment and innovation. A new learning culture ICT also open up opportunities for learning because it enables learners to access, extend, transform, and shares ideas and information in multimodal communication style and format. And next to proceed is the new learning contents. The new learning contents with the new environment and the explosion of knowledge, content or subject matter of learning has been modified. Also, learning content is broadly defined as the topics, themes, beliefs, behaviors, and concepts and facts, often grouped within each subject or learning area under knowledge, values, skills, and attitudes that are expected to be learned and form the basis of teaching and learning. The new learning contents has the following. First, the integrated and interdisciplinary is an effective and relevant way to teach the 21st century competencies and to apply the transdisciplinary skills it is necessary for solving complex global problems. Next is the demand driven, where the programs focus more strongly than ever on ensuring graduates are job ready and have access to rewarding careers over the course of their lifetime. Demand driven education adapts the needs of the learner and the employer. Then, next is emphasis of learning tools on how to retrieve knowledge. Retrieval practice can boost learning by pulling information out of students' heads rather than cramming information into students' heads. It helps students also to use it and lose it. Just like practicing a language or an instrument, it improves students' understanding of their own learning process or shall be called metacognition and etc. And last but not the least, the balance of scientific, technological, cultural, global, and local concepts. This is an outlook on science education that emphasizes the teaching of scientific and technological development in their cultural, economic, social, and political contexts. And this view students are encouraged to engage in issues pertaining to the impact of science on everyday life and make responsible decisions about how to address such as issues. To proceed, let's tackle about the new process of learning and how there will be facilitated. So how to facilitate learning? Instructors should give the students more learning tasks to perform. Instructor must do less telling so that the students can do more discovering. Third, the instructor would be a model on how expert learns. It should encourage students to learn from and with each other. Instructor and students should work together to create climate of learning. And lastly, it must use evaluation to promote learning via feedback. There are multiple ways of learning, such as face to face, distance learning, blended modalities, and experiential and lifelong. But let's tackle first the face to face. In this program, it focuses on teaching on how to facilitate in person training courses effectively. It might answer questions such as how to make effective and engaging introduction content presentation and conclusion, and also it teaches how to encourage learner participation, use effective communication techniques, and manage time and difficult classroom situation when teaching in face-to-face situation. Also, face-to-face learning ensures a better understanding and recollection of lessons content and give class members a chance to bond with one another. Next is the distance learning. When the pandemic hits us, DepEd declared distance learning, also called distance education, e-learning or online learning form of education, in which the elements includes physical separation of teachers and students. They use a various technology to facilitate students to teacher and students to students communication. There are four characteristics of distance learning. First is by definition carried out through institutions. It is not self-study or a non-academic learning environment. Then, the geographic separation of inherent and time may also separate students and teachers. Next is the interactive telecommunication context individual within the learning group and with teachers. And finally, like any education, if establish a learning group, sometimes called a learning community, which is composed of students, a teacher, and instructional resources. Example, books, audio, video, and graphic display that allows the students to access the content of instruction. Next is the blended modalities. It is when teaching and learning is facilitated through face-to-face or distance learning, which enable to the teachers and learners to have both physical presence or physical absence in teaching learning process. And also, it refers to kanang pwede siya mix online distance learning, modular distance learning, or TV radio-based instruction. And it is designed to enable the school to limit face-to-face learning, ensure social distancing, and decrease the volume of outside people at home at any given time. And lastly, the experiential and lifelong. When learners are immersed into the real-life situations such as learning become more authentic and meaningful. And also, experiential learning is used to describe the sort of learning undertaken by students who are given a chance to acquire and apply knowledge, skills, and feeling in an immediate and relevant setting. And also, it focuses on the idea that the best way to learn things is by actually having that experience. Thank you.
The new types of learners. The new breed of learners does not have age boundaries. Learners may be in informal, formal, or informal settings. The new type of learners is 1. A confident person who thinks independently and critically and who communicates effectively. Second, safe, self-directed, and who questions, reflects, and takes responsibility for her own learners. Third, citizen information about the world and local affairs, has a strong sense of civic responsibility and participate actively in improving the lives of others. Fourth, a member of the new generation, pop culture, different ways of thinking, responding. In order for every learner to address the challenges of the culture, he or she to develop and career skills. Life and career skills are enhanced in school as part of the learning outcomes. Life and career skills, flexibility and adaptability. Learners adapt various rules, responsibilities, and schedules. Despite the complex condition, they are able to do different tasks at one time. Recognition of this potential will give you a signal and the teacher to provide all learners the opportunities to develop their individual potential of being adaptable and flexible. Initiative and self-direction. A self-directed learner demonstrates life and career skills goals are set and managed by themselves. There is a commitment to learning as a lifelong process. Many of the young learners are capable of doing this without being told. They take the initiative. They do not need to be given detailed instruction. They plan and work out their plans, like the learners. The teacher should also possess the same skills. Social and cross-cultural skills. The life and career skills require learners to respect cultural differences and work effectively with others, to be open-minded to different ideas in order to innovate and improve the quality of work. If one understands the other's culture, it will be easy to respect. This respect may spring from ignorance and bias. To be able to appreciate the more tradition, history, and others, no need to be open willing to accommodate and compare. Productivity and accountability. Individuals who possess the skills are able to produce results. They respect work and cooperation. They manage the time. There always can be multitasking. The most the, the most proof that one has done something is the product or result. It can be an idea or a material product. When one is tasked to do something that the person has accountable to produce results and evidence of a job done. Better results are accomplished if done together through collaboration and cooperated. Leadership and responsibility. Good leaders are interpersonal and problem-solving skills with integrity and technical behavior to influence and guide others. Leadership and responsibility are life skills that should be developed by learners and teachers. Leadership is not assigned, it is earned. As the saying goes, leaders are born but they can also be made.
Hi, I am Mae Pacana, the last reporter of Group 4, and my topic is about the new type of teachers. Teachers for the 21st century learners teach within the context of a new environment, new content or knowledge, a new process of teaching and learning. Hence, the new type of teachers must process the following. Number 1. Clear standards and accountability that the learners should know and be able to do at the end of their schooling. Today, teachers live in an age of accountability. They are constantly being held responsible for the performance of their students. This act increases the responsibility of teachers for their students' performance and learning achievement. Number 2. Use broad pedagogies including inquiry-based learning, cooperative learning, and other pedagogies. So, pedagogy means the method and practice of teaching. Learning pedagogy addresses the different ways students understand information and is equally as important as teaching pedagogy in understanding and supporting every student. Next, skillful in the integration of ICT in pedagogy. So, the teacher today has to meet the multiplicity of challenges of the modern society. He or she is expected to be traditional yet use modern technology to maintain his or her dynamism in the teaching process. ICT can impact student learning when teachers are digitally literate and understand how to integrate it into curriculum. Schools use a diverse set of ICT tools to communicate, create, disseminate, store, and manage information. So let's proceed to the fourth. Skillful in the use of assessment to guide teaching and learning. So, the frequent assessment allows teachers to see if their teaching has been effective. Assessment also allows teachers to ensure students learn what they need to know in order to meet the course's learning objectives. Number 5. Great understanding of local and global cultures. So, when working and learning with people from a variety of backgrounds and cultures present in the classroom, students gain a more comprehensive understanding of the subject matter. It also teaches students how to use their own strengths and points of view to contribute in a diverse working environment. Number 6. Skillful in action research to diagnose and solve classroom problems based on evidence. So, being helpful in the action research process can help the new type of teacher understand what is happening in his or her classroom and identify changes that improve teaching and learning. Action research can help answer questions he or she have about the effectiveness of specific instructional strategies, the performance of specific students, and classroom management techniques. Number 7. Number 7. Practice the core values of inspiring teachers. So, teachers are responsible in overall development of society. Via the education he or she passes to students to build educated, capable manpower. Upon possessing and exhibiting these core values, teachers shall be able to appear as a better leader, facilitator, and educator. Last one. Develop life and career skills for the 21st century and beyond. So, a professional development is necessary. Attending professional development courses will increase your expertise in your field and, as a result, build confidence in the work you do. Let's proceed to the next topic, and it's all about UNESCO's 4 pillars of learning. Education throughout life is based on 4 pillars: learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. So let's start on the first pillar. Number 1, the learning to know. This implies a thirst for knowledge and acquisition of such knowledge. More so, it is learning how to learn throughout one's life. After completing formal education, there should be a great desire to gain more understanding of the world and other people. An individual who is knowledgeable is literate. Being literate is always related to being knowledgeable. Thus, the definition of the word literacy evolved through time. So, how is literacy defined? In 1958, UNESCO defined literate as one who can, with understanding, both read and write a short, simple statement on his or her everyday life. In 1970, A functionally literate person is who can engage in all the activities to use reading, writing, and calculation for the community's development. In 2000, literacy was defined as the ability to read and write with understanding, a simple statement related to one's daily life. It involves a continuum of reading and writing skills and also includes numeracy. In 2003, the UNESCO International Expert redefined literacy as the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. So let's move on. Okay. The 21st century literacies, the arts and creativity. Creativity. Creativity and innovation are 21st century skills. Thus, solving problems and creating artworks are part of this literacy. Arts and creativity allow students to be active in literacy, from acting out plays through characters that they've made themselves or through making props. It allows children to explore their imaginations. So that's the arts and creativity. Next is eco-literacy. So eco-literacy is the acquisition of knowledge about climate change, pollution, loss of natural habitat, and biodiversity. Solutions on how these environmental problems to be addressed must be practiced. So these skills extend beyond understanding the basics of the life systems of our planet. Environmental literacy prepares students to bridge the gap between understanding issues and taking actions to solve and improve problems. The next literacy is cyber literacy or digital literacy, information and ICT knowledge. Being in the rapid changes in the use of technology for teaching and learning, teachers and learners need to develop and enhance the use of digital gadgets, whether online or offline. So, possessing digital literacy allows you to improve the efficiency and access to things. Digital literacy is key to Digital literacy is key to teaching in order to provide the skills, knowledge, and understanding for young people to enter the workplace, further education, and higher education. Financial literacy. Basic knowledge about the basics of economic and financial management. This is necessary for every learner and teacher to be able to handle income, expenses, and investments to be economically secure. So, financial literacy is the foundation of your relationship with money, and it is a lifelong journey of learning. Being financially literate helps an individual know when he or she is spending money responsibly. Next, literacy is a media. Teachers and learners must learn how to discern any information, which is transmitted via various forms of media. So, teaching media literacy provides students with skills that will help them foremost think critically about media. Next is social emotional literacy. Knowledge about social dimensions and social skills in the context of society. Emotional must also be developed to be able to effectively manage the stresses due to the changing environments of 21st century society. So, social emotional literacy teaches the students crucial life skills, including the ability to understand themselves, develop a positive self-image, take responsibility for their actions, and forge relationships with the people around them. So the last literacy is the globalization and multicultural literacy. If you respect multicultural diversity, aware of global trends, acknowledge differences and similarities, respect each other's dignity, then you are multicultural literate. So, integrating a variety of cultural context into lessons and activities teaches students to view the world from many angles, creates a respect for diversity, and enables students to learn exciting information. So those what I've mentioned are the 21st century literacies. In summary, learning to know helps with the knowledge and the information needed to work in a globalized information society and knowledge economy, and the tools for learning how to learn and to independently acquire knowledge. The second pillar is learning to do. To apply knowledge, one must have 21st century skills. Qualifications now are equated to skills and not knowledge alone. Can the knowledge be translated into the application? Learning by doing is a pragmatist's view of life. Knowledge acquired is nothing unless applied in daily life. Meaning to say, learning to do involves the acquisition of skills that are often linked to occupational success, such as computer training and managerial training. So let's proceed to the third pillar, learning to be. It implies developing the potentials of each individual. Continuing education must improve self-knowledge and self-esteem. What would you like to be? Answer to this question will require self-analysis, self-reflection, social skills, creativity, and personal discovery. The aim of development is complete fulfillment of man in all the richness of his personality, the complexity of his forms of expression, and his various commitments. The last pillar is learning to live together. This refers to the relationships among people. It is bringing together a community to work harmoniously, to live in peace and prosperity, and to show respect and concern for others. It also refers to interpersonal skills that will enable people to live side by side with others at home, in school, in the community, and the whole world. Learning to live together is a concept of interdependence and complementation. This view is expected to overcome various conflicts within society of differing culture and ethnicity. So that ends my report. Thank you for listening.